Colby Covington finally breaks his silence on Masvidal injuring his brain. Colby Covington, the #1 welterweight in the UFC, broke his silence on social media nearly a week after his altercation with Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal is accused of hitting Covington twice in the face on March 21st at the Poppy Steak restaurant in Miami Beach, Florida, breaking his teeth, inflicting a wrist abrasion, and ruining his Rolex. According to new court records, Covington now claims he sustained a brain injury in the March confrontation with Masvidal. Covington claims Masvidal assaulted him using his hands or fists and knowingly or intentionally inflicted him with serious bodily harm in the documents acquired by TMZ Sports. Covington initially told police officers that he had a broken tooth in the incident, but it's evident that the damage was significantly worse. Exclusive details of the brawl. When the cops arrived on the scene, Covington told them that he'd been attacked by Jorge Masvidal. Covington claimed that after leaving Poppy Steak restaurant, Masvidal went up to him from his left and without warning, punched him 2 times in the face with a closed hand. According to the report, Covington was punched once in the mouth and the left eye. Covington claims he overheard Masvidal say, "You shouldn't be talking about my kids," during the attack. Covington continued. 3 or 4 more unknown individuals approached him in an aggressive manner, so he pushed them away and ran back into the restaurant to call the police. During the alleged assault, Covington shattered his left front teeth and an abrasion on his left wrist, according to the police complaint. According to Covington, Masvidal was wearing a blue surgical face mask and his hoodie was up over his head. He recognized him by the sound of his voice and the hair hanging out of his hoodie. Police used body cameras to interrogate Covington and other witnesses while retrieving security camera footage from the scene. Masvidal posted a video late Monday night that appeared to refer to the altercation after it occurred. Masvidal joked, "Call this the show your face challenge. What's up? I'm from Dade country. You have to be able to back up your claims. That's how my city rolls." He responded early Tuesday morning with a tweet related to what he purportedly said to Covington during the incident. "Good morning to everyone except those who think talking about other people's kids is cool," he added. Masvidal and Covington's relationship turned strained after their bout in the UFC 272 main event in early March. Despite winning the fight unanimously, Covington continued to insult Masvidal on social media in the days following the bout. After Covington mentioned Masvidal's children during the build-up to their bout, Masvidal said during the UFC 272 post-fight media briefing that he meant to settle his rage with Covington on the streets. "If I happen to see him out on the streets, I will give him all I have to shatter his fucking jaw." Masvidal remarked, "I still think he's a fucking pussy, even if I lost wrestling scrambles tonight." A judge has recently ordered Jorge Masvidal to keep away from Colby Covington, according to TMZ Sports. According to a court spokeswoman, the order was made at a hearing on Thursday morning in Miami-Dade country. The UFC fighter appeared at the hearing via Zoom. Covington was also on the line. Masvidal is now prohibited from coming within 25 feet of Colby. Cohen, Padilla, and Masvidal have had no objections to the order, with the attorneys saying they understand Colby's terrified of Masvidal. Dana White's comments about the incident. As the head of the UFC, Dana White has made it clear that he forbids violence amongst fighters outside of competition. White did caution that going too far with trash language has consequences. White seemed to be more sympathetic to Jorge Masvidal than Colby Covington when speaking about the event on the Pat McAfee show. The UFC president stated, "First and foremost, I never condone violence in people. My guys fighting one another in the streets and shit like that," White said. However, when you're dealing with a man like Jorge Masvidal and you start speaking about his family, listen, you can say whatever you want about me. You can hate me, you can think I'm ugly, whatever your thing is. However, when you start talking about people's families, it's a whole different level. From being best friends to now bitter enemies. TMZ acquired a video of Covington and Masvidal having a heated verbal argument outside the restaurant before Masvidal fled in a vehicle. According to the Miami-Dade County Corrections records, Masvidal was arrested on March 23rd and charged with 2 felony convictions: aggravated battery with a mask, causing severe bodily harm, and criminal mischief. Masvidal was brought inside the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center in Florida, according to WPLG Local 10 News. According to prison records, he was held on a $15,000 bail and released a few hours later. Covington was social media silent until March 27th, 6 days after the incident. Chaos made no mention of his accusations against Masvidal. Instead, he posted a photo of himself wearing a King of Miami championship belt with the Nelk Boys, with whom he recorded a podcast before the Poppy Steak incident. Chaos wrote, "Had a terrific time on Full Send Podcast." Covington and Masvidal had last battled in the octagon at UFC 272 in March. Covington defeated Masvidal unanimously after the former best friends turned adversaries fought for all 5 rounds. Following that, Covington proceeded to mock Masvidal on Instagram, posting photos of himself punching him with phrases like, "At least you tried," 50-44 and a Coke, and easy money for the King of Miami. There's an origin tale for all the bitterness between the two former buddies, but it varies depending on who you ask. It all began with money, specifically an alleged unpaid payment from Covington to Masvidal's longtime striking coach Paulino Hernandez, a Cuban exile and pioneer of kickboxing and taekwondo in his homeland, and a member of the national team. Masvidal was the one who introduced Covington to Hernandez, which set the ball rolling. Hernandez had generally remained silent about the incident, focusing on training Masvidal and a few American fighters, but decided to reveal what triggered the two fighters' enmity. "Well, Jorge Masvidal introduced me to Colby Covington," Hernandez explained. He said he was a friend and a novice wrestler with good grappling skills. He claimed Colby was assisting him in wrestling, and he was assisting Covington in the striking department. He showed me Covington and told me, "Look, this kid has a bright future. Train him since the striking part is lacking." So I started training him, and they were certainly pals, or at least they appeared to be. After that, they started to drift apart because of things Covington was doing that Masvidal didn't like. Hernandez became Covington's full-time coach and cornerman once he joined the UFC. According to Hernandez, Covington agreed to give Hernandez 5% of his purse, excluding sponsorship money. There was no formal contract, it was a verbal agreement between the guys. Covington kept his word throughout his UFC career, and then there was the interim championship fight with Dos Anjos, which Covington won. "I realized he wasn't going to pay what we agreed to," Hernandez said in Spanish, recalling the moment Masvidal and Covington's relationship soured. "I was aware of that because he'd already informed Jorge." "Hey look," Jorge said, "Covington is telling me that he'll be earning a lot of money and that it'll be far too much money for you." Hernandez remarked, "Masvidal informed me that Covington refused to pay. I assured him that I would finish the task with him and would provide the final training. I wanted him to win the title. We continued to work with him and provided him with opportunities. He didn't pay the agreed upon amount, and that's when things came to an end." Masvidal, training under Hernandez since his late teens, said that this was the final straw in his friendship with Covington. Before not paying Hernandez in total, he had already said certain things that didn't sit well with him. Masvidal told MMA Junkie, "That's what fast-forwarded it. In countless interviews, he refers to me as his best friend. I wouldn't do it because I noticed signs in the way he handled his family, how he spoke about his sister, and how he spoke about his mother. I was already thinking, let me gradually separate myself from this, and BAM! Before I could even entirely separate, he betrayed my coach by not paying him the agreed amount. I knew since then that I'm gonna hurt this guy." That's not how Covington remembers the incident. When asked what triggered their feud, Covington confronted Masvidal in a recent interview with ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. Covington stated, "It's fake news. Everything Jorge claims is fake. He's all talk and no action. I got half of what was said the night I got that paycheck. According to the commission, I earned twice as much as I claimed, but paid half the amount. The Illinois State Athletic Commission, which controlled UFC 225 in Chicago, did not publicly state bonuses. So how much was Covington paid?" Many fans believe that the dispute was made up to generate attention and headlines, but this incident proved that this was not the case. The rivalry between the two is quite severe, but it would be best if the fighting took place in the ring and not on the streets.